Welcome back to Man Across New Horizons. I'm Darling. I should see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today. Again, it's a hot day in UK, but you know, it's not as hot as it has been on the previous days. So if anything, that has been, well appreciated, shall we say, in this sweltering heat. It's nice to have a little bit of a break. It's still kind of hot, but it's not like scorchingly hot. I don't feel like I'm absolutely dying over here. I just feel like I'm toasty, well, maybe not toasty, maybe just kind of warm. Be a better way to put it. So what's happened recently? I don't know. It was like Prime Day yesterday, so if you order stuff off Prime, I don't have Amazon Prime, so I didn't. But my friend offered to order some stuff for me, so I was like, I don't know, I need some hair ties. So now I've got a lot of hair ties coming my way. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 3:13 PM on Thursday, July 14th, 2022. I feel like July 14th is a significant date, but I don't know why. Why do I feel like something happened on July? Does something happen on July 14th? Hold on. This way you go to Google. What's happened on July 14th? What happened on July 14th in history? The Parisians attacked Bastille, signaling the start of the French Revolution. Maybe that's why I think it's significant. Something I learnt about ages ago in primary school. In fact, we didn't even cover it very much in primary school. I don't think I even learnt that in secondary school. So who knows why that's in my head. But hello, Biscuit. Sorry to push you out of the way. But yeah, it's Prime Day. There's like big sales going on with all sorts of different things. You know, gadgets and gizmos. You know, one of my friends they bought like a big old pillow, which is just like a really elongated cat, but it's also a body pillow, that sort of thing. It's quite comfy. As I said myself, I bought some hair ties, a hair clip, and some other hair ties. I bought some invisible hair ties, and then I bought some like regular old hair ties because I was just like, I need some. All my previous ones are broken, and invisible hair ties are quite nice because they're the ones which are used to like hide when you're like tying things up in your hair. It's not so obvious. I do have black hair though, so you know the black hair ties are also quite invisible, but you know they're smaller basically. And also they come in a pack of like 500, which is like, you know, I'll never run out of those. Like I've even got like bobby pins I ordered ages ago, and I've got like 500. I think I've lost maybe a total of about 2 over the course of my life. Mainly because, you know, I just keep track of things, you know, perhaps to an obsessive degree, but there we go. So yeah, I don't know if you've ordered any other stuff, and hopefully it'll be awesome when you get it, or, you know, something like that. I don't really know how to feel the conversation of this. What else should I talk about? You know what was an interesting conversation I had yesterday with a few of my friends is a lot of them are playing TFT now. If you don't know what TFT is, it's the auto battler from Riot Game, Teamfight Tactics. You might know about it because if you've been here a quite long time, you might know that I played it quite a lot. It might have been 2 years ago now. I can't remember. Anyway, I played it a lot, and I got to Masters. I played it in set 1. I got to Diamond 1. I nearly made it to Masters. I was 1 game away. I lost, and then, you know, I never made it, sadly. Set 2, I didn't play. Set 3, I didn't play, but I played the second half, and I hit Masters in set 3.5, and I hit Masters in the first half of set 4. So I am quite well acquainted with TFT. But around that sort of time, it was basically me and this other friend who basically played a lot of TFT. And like I played and he got to Masters. No, I got to Masters. He got to Grandmasters a couple of times, which is pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. And you know, our other friends either didn't play it or they played like sparingly, shall we say. I think most of us played it in set 1, but you know, by the time set 3 and set 4 came around, like it was basically just us two. But now like things are completely inverted. Now like most of my friends are now playing TFT again. They're like climbing, then having fun together makes it sound like I'm on the outside looking in, which is not what I mean. But it's sort of like they're all playing it. They're like climbing ranked. They're playing individually, or there's a new mode since I've played where you can play together, where you're basically like in duos against 3 other teams, and they're all having a great time, which is also wonderful to hear. But I found it a bit of an ironic thing. It was like before, you know, back in the day, it was basically me and this other person who were basically the only 2 people to play TFT, and nowadays everyone but us 2 are the only ones playing TFT now. So I was watching some of them play TFT yesterday. I do know a bits and pieces about, you know, the TFT things because I'm still subscribed to T-Sim Keen, who's a pretty good TFT player, and you know, sometimes I'll just like pop in to watch his videos, his YouTube videos, and be like, oh, you know, that's very entertaining. So I have a sort of like knows at what's going on, but I'm not like, you know, I'm looking at it through the eyes of like not a retired professional, but a retired, reasonably good at the game sort of person. Well, maybe say occasionally good at the game. Let's not go reasonably. But I don't know what percentage top masters is, and then I assume it must be like 1% or something of a server, something like that. So you know, it's not bad, but you know, I'm not going to, you know, go professional anytime soon, and don't really have any intentions to. So I do have sort of vague ideas of what's going on. You know, I still got like my residual knowledge about something, and honestly, part of me is like, maybe I kind of want to start playing TFT again. I don't know if that's true or not. Because like I have played TFT like set sometimes, because I have another friend who often asks me, he's like, hey, do you want to play a TFT? Well, not often, like rarely asks me, I suppose, do you want to play TFT? And I'm like, sure. So basically in each set I will play like somewhere between 1 to 5 games, depending on how often he plays TFT, or you know, if he has no one else to play with, I suppose. And it is a fun game, don't get me wrong, TFT is fun, but it's sort of just like the sort of thing where I was just like, I don't want to play it anymore. But you know, now it's coming back around, now I'm coming full circle, I'm just like, maybe I do want to play it again. And I talked about this actually ages, and you know, years ago when I actually did play a TFT, I was like, maybe this is a game I should stream, because the thing is, you know, I talked about the fact I wanted to stream before, but I'm just like, I don't want to do stream games which have like a definitive start and definitive end, because I feel like that's already what my YouTube like series is for. I don't have enough games to fill those sort of gaps, I suppose. But I was actually thinking about this the other day, about, well, no, actually there was partially today as well, about doing streams, and I was like, I can do games with definitive starts and definitive ends, but in fact I should probably do games which are quite short, games which aren't suitable for like long series, because they'll be over and done in maybe like 1 to 3 episodes. Things like Kukiyomi I definitely should have played on like stream, because it was so short. I didn't know it was that short, and I was even stretching out how much gameplay I could get from it. It was basically about half an hour little experience, but it's meant to be like kind of like a repeatable Warriors Wear sort of fun thing, except for it's a bit less repeatable than Warrior Wear, I'd say. So I was trying to think about what games I'd play, and I'd be like, there's Binding of Isaac, I could play some Mario Kart maybe, because these are both games I'm reasonably adept in, and you know, have played before and I'm familiar with, and I think I could keep a decent conversation going at the same time. But then I was like, what else should I fill the gap? I know there's this one game which one of my viewers made with one of their friends, and they asked me to play it, and I said I would play it when I start live streaming, and then, you know, I apologise to them because I still haven't started live streaming, so I've not played it, but I would play that, and I was like, I should play like, you know, I have so many random like games on itch.io which are just like half an hour or something, or like short little experiences. Could be fun to play one of those, I don't know. But TFT is a good sort of like solid, you know, like cornerstone, like a base one, where it's be like, oh, you know, if I could play like, you know, start off a live stream like an hour of Mario Kart, and then I go on to like taster sessions of like random games I've got on itch.io, and then I'll play like a one hour of like TFT games or something like that. I don't know, you know, just throwing it out there. It's sort of interesting, because you know, there's not many times I have this sort of experience, because I don't really get super stuck into the competitive nature of games. You know me, I'm quite chilled, relaxed about sort of things. I tend to prefer puzzle-esque and story games in the first place. Most of the time those aren't particularly competitive. I mean, like story games you can't really make, I mean, could you make competitive? Isn't that what, what's that game? Monster High School, or Monster High? I can't remember what it's called. It's kind of like a visual novel, but like competitive or something. It's something like you're trying to find a date to prom. Is that how it works? I don't know. I've never played it. But story games, like for the most part, are basically not something people make competitive. Puzzle games you can be, but you know, that'll be things like, I don't know, Tetris. I guess you could do competitive Sudoku or stuff like that. But the games I play, you know, like Babazoo, Snakebird, etc., things like that, don't really have a competitive mode, so to speak. So I don't particularly stuck into these sort of competitive games. So TFT is sort of like a rare experience where I do have quite a lot of experience with TFT, and now, you know, it's a game which is still exists but has evolved. So now I can look at it through basically the eyes of, like, I don't want to say like a seasoned veteran, because I'm not a seasoned veteran. That's, you know, a little bit too like arrogant, I think, from my perspective. But I am someone, you know, who's got experience in the game. Like looking back on it, I can look at it through like different eyes, and it's got like a different sort of feel, I suppose, to it. You know, looking at a game which you've played a lot of, you know, got pretty good at, and then just like dropped for whatever reasons or choices you may, decisions you decided in the end. Hold on, that's not how you speak. I don't know, it's just interesting coming from that perspective, and it's interesting watching my friends, because, you know, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, this is how you play friends because I don't know necessarily. The metas might have changed, but I still have like residual knowledge, and me sort of thinking, and part of me was just sort of thinking when I was watching them, being like, I don't think that was the right move or something like that. But like I don't know. It sounds a bit cocky for me to say because I don't think my skill level is quite high enough nowadays to really be commenting on their skill levels. And I don't. And I'm not like sitting in a backseat gaming them or anything like that. I'm just sort of sitting there watching them, thinking like, what would I do in that situation? Or, you know, internally being like, I wonder if that was a particularly good move or not. I suppose is how I'd frame it. But yeah, as I say, there's not many things where I look, I watch it as someone, like, through the scrutiny of, not an expert, but like as an adept, I suppose. Because I'm trying to think what other games in the past I might even be feasible. Like, I mean, like Binding of Isaac, kind of. Like when my friend and friends, wait, friend and friends? I could just say friends in general, like sort of encompasses it all. Started to pick it up. Like I played a lot of Rebirth when it first came out, and then so did one of my other friends when he started playing it, and then he kept asking me like what items to take, etc., and I can actually, you know, shed some light on that. But I was still playing the game at that time, and then more recently, one of my friends, they started, well, not recently, I think it was about like 6 months ago or something, they started playing it a little bit, and then, you know, I can like pass on some advice there. But also I think around that time was also around I was still playing it kind of, although it was sort of petering out a little bit, because that was not too long after, well, it was about like a couple months after Repentance came out, which is a fantastic update to the game, by the way. It was awesome. And Binding of Isaac is good fun, and I do enjoy it, but I don't like, you know, I guess to say, coming at it from a competitive perspective, it feels a bit different because it's not really competitive. You're sort of just competing against yourself, aren't you? Sorry, I'm like, despite the fact it is not as warm as usual, it's still still gotta stay hydrated and all that. I'm trying to think what other games would even be like plausible. Like, it is TFT basically the game I've got the highest like level of skill in. Skill differential from high to low, I mean. Is it the biggest skill drop I've had? I suppose, in a game. Just through, not through like, you know, I fell off or anything, I'm just like, I just stopped playing the game. It might be. What skill level would I say I would be right now if I started playing immediately now? What skill level would I be? I don't know, I would assume I'm high gold, low platinum. But that's complete guess, because I only have a passing knowledge, I suppose, in all, the sort of mechanics tying the things together. Well, I have a passing knowledge on the individual like micro mechanics, but I have so this must be Audi's a reasonable knowledge on the sort of like macro mechanics that you got going on, the sort of broad scale decision making. I don't know. I'm trying to think what other games I've gotten really good at in the past, which have like some element of competitiveness to them. I got really good at Mario Kart Wii, if that helps. Like I think I talked about this before. I beat all the expert time trials, I think, on Mario Kart Wii, and I was pretty good. I was like a lot better than I would say my friends at that time. Nowadays I'm not. Well, I don't know, because I'm still reasonable in Mario Kart. Let's not get me wrong. I didn't fall off that much, but like I also probably didn't get like that high, I suppose. Like I didn't really play ranked in Mario Kart. I'm sure I could have got even better or something, but you know I didn't. Because Mario Kart does actually have a competitive mode for how random I suppose it is in the first place. But like, League of Legends, you played that a lot. What's the highest you ever got in League of Legends? I think I got to Plat 1. I don't know if I ever got to Diamond. I don't think I did off the top of my head. Because I didn't particularly enjoy playing ranked in League of Legends all that much. I didn't do it all that often, so I left all my... most of the time I left my climbing of a rank ladder all the way to the end of a season. So it basically was like, okay, I have 2 weeks to... Oh, low battery. 2 weeks to basically try and hit Diamond. Which is not enough time for me personally, because I think at my peak I would probably have been low Diamond. But I don't think, you know, I would have needed to play more games to actually get there. So the highest I got was, I think I was in promotion for Diamond and I lost the promotion. Which I'm not really like, you know, I was a bit upset about at the time, because I was like, oh, if only had started earlier. But now looking back in retrospect, I don't care. I don't care about my past League of Legends performances in previous seasons, etc, etc. But nowadays, I don't know. I would assume I'm like mid gold, maybe low gold or something. I mean, I like to think I'm better than silver, but I'm not sure. I am very, like, all my knowledge about League of Legends is rather outdated. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, but again, it's the sort of things that when you play these sort of games, you retain the sort of like over-level like macro mechanics of how games work and your experience and knowledge of them in the first place, right? So it's not like you lose all of them, and it's not like riding a bike, you know. But that's actually something I do have experience in. I learned how to ride a bike when I was quite young, you know, like 6-ish or something. I actually still remember that day, you know, when I actually like properly rode a bike. Like, you know, my dad was teaching me on like a road outside our house, and he was basically, we were at the stage where I was riding, cycling without stabilizer or anything, but he was just holding on to the back of a bike seat to sort of like stabilize me, make sure it didn't go like to a course. And then there was just a part where we were cycling, and then he just let go. And then I remember I cycled for like 2 more meters, and then I stopped and I looked back because I felt him like let go of a bike, and I was like, what happened? And he was just like, you rode a bike. And I was like, what? That's crazy. Anyway, so that's when I rode a bike. I assume I rode a bike more often back then, and then, you know, I didn't need to ride a bike to school or anything because I was in walking distance of school, and then we moved, and then I was no longer in cycle distance of school. So, you know, it was I mean, I guess I would have been, but it would have been quite a long cycle for for like a 10-year-old, 9-year-old me or something. So, you know, I never actually ended up cycling to school. And in secondary school, I could have cycled, but it was a lot easier for me to take a train. Because it would have been quite a long cycle. So I only really started cycling again in university when I moved to a town where basically most people did cycle. So there was a decent amount of cycling infrastructure already. So, you know, you bought a cheap bike from, I can't remember, like, not Curry's. What's that outdoor shop called? It's not B&Q, but it's like B&Q, isn't it? I can't remember. Wix? No, that can't be right. There's no way I bought a bike from Wix. Can you even get bikes from Wix? I don't know. I got a bike from somewhere. It was like, you know, like quite a cheap bike. It was like less than £100 or something, just to get me around the place. And I remember for trying to learn how to ride a bike again, you know. When I brought it, you know, there was a bit of like an open space, you know, where like my parents helped me move, and then I had a bike and I like tried to ride it around for a bit, and I was like, oh, it's terrible. But there was a university gym because I signed up to do some university sports for a bit. Now, for some reason, I signed up, I think I mentioned this before in university, I signed up for way too many things in my first year, my first term, so much I was basically exhausted every single day. I would not recommend doing that. I would, you know, I mean, you can, and then just like slowly drop out after you find out ones you like. But I signed up to do like rowing, gymnastics, fencing, archery. Those were just for sports. I also did like Japanese learning, and I signed up for a load of different other clubs, like the tabletop gaming club. What other clubs did I sign up for? Like Math Society, things like that. And I was like, whoa, this is too much stuff. I mean, maybe nowadays I'd be more competent at like doing all that stuff, but I definitely wouldn't have signed up for anything. So, but some of those things took place in like the gym, which was quite familiar, which is either half an hour walk or it was like a 10-minute cycle. So, you know, I was like, I've got to have a bike to make this easier to cycle back and forth. And the first time I cycled it was so dark. I had a bike light. I actually bought bike lights, which is good. By the way, people kept stealing bike lights, which is the most annoying thing in university. Like, and one of the times I accidentally like left my bike light on my bike, someone stole it, and I was like, what the heck? I was like, I understand why people buy like really cheap bike lights. Now, I didn't buy a cheap one. I bought a rechargeable one because I was like, oh, you know, let's, you know, have something which I can use multiple times. So it was a bit more expensive, and I just left it on bike light, and someone stole it, and I was like, oh, what a pain. So I had to buy another one, and then I made sure to, you know, take it off every single time. Luckily, no one ever stole my bike way, so that's good. I forgot what I was going to say. I also forgot what underground mission we're doing. We're deep sea diving, aren't we? Deep sea diving. And it was super, super dark, and I remember I was cycling there, and I was doing okay, because, you know, good thing about it being dark and it was quite late was that there was not many cars or other cyclists on the road, so it was basically just an open road. And then there was at one point I was like cycling down the street, and I started like, there was like a van behind me, I remember, and I started to basically be like, okay, I'm losing confidence in my cycling ability. I'm going to pull over to the side and then let the van pass me so I can, you know, cycle a bit more comfortably. Pulled over to the side, and the van just like stood there back waiting behind me, and I was like, what on earth is going on? And I was like, I want this van to pass, but they're not, so I was like, fine, I've cycled off again. Van wanted to pull into literally the exact spot I pulled into, so I was like, alright, fine. You know, not alright, fine. I was like, alright, that's a bit awkward. But anyway, so it was very awkward. I actually nearly crashed into someone when I was riding a bike once. He got so angry at me. I remember this. I was having, it was an incredibly bad day. You know, I was overworked about something. I was incredibly tired. I was cycling back, and then I was just, you know, I just cycled, and then I like couldn't like properly control it. It was very early on from when I was cycling the bike. It was like the third date or something. I remembered, and I was cycling, and then, but basically there's like these two bollards in the road, so you can either go on the left, the middle, or the right section for it. And obviously we all drive on the left on the UK, so most people go on the left from their respective angle. But this time I went through the middle, basically because I was like, I couldn't figure out how to turn properly into that corner, because it goes straight round into a curve into the bollards, from what I recall. And then this other guy on the other end decided he also wanted to go through the middle, and we almost crashed in the middle. And then he started like screaming at me like very angrily, and I just, you know, I don't even remember what I did. I think I just went like sorry when I just cycled off, I'm gonna be honest. I was quite apologetic, but I was just like completely zoned out and completely like, you know, what's the word when you have like an out of body experience, kind of that sort of thing. I was very much not there, or like, you know, either emotionally or mentally about that day. Let's be honest. So yeah, that was my experience of biking. But, you know, I was like, you know, to stick it to that person, I got pretty good at cycling in the end anyway. So, you know, I did it comfortably. So, you know, maybe if someone almost crashed into your bike, you have a right to be angry. Maybe don't just like completely swear and go absolutely lose it, like maniacally on them. That's a little bit far, I will say. Especially since I was like, you know, apologising and all that. I wasn't like being indignant, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have also gone through the middle, which, you know, perhaps you shouldn't have. I'll be honest. Perhaps we both shouldn't have, to be fair. But it's just like, you know, to be fair, maybe he was having a terrible day as well. Maybe he was having literally the worst day of his life, and maybe, you know, he just, you know, exploded on me as an outburst of all the pent up rage and anger he's feeling. That's what I choose to believe, even if that's perhaps giving him a little bit too much leeway. But yeah, anyway, I suppose the long and short of it is I relearned my comfortability, being comfortable with riding a bike again. So, you know, all's well that ends well, I suppose. I don't remember if we were meant to sell coconuts or not. So anyway, that was a super long tangent about just being like a seasoned expert in TFT and like watching it play and being like, oh, that's kind of how I felt. And probably if I start playing again, that's probably how I feel. Or I'm just like, oh, you know, I'm a bit shaky playing TFT again. I don't remember how do I play this game again, all this stuff. And then, you know, I just get comfortable. And once, you know, I got the micro mechanics down, you know, my macro mechanics still there. Another sip of water, and it'll be swimmingly great or something. That's not a phrase, but, you know, let's pretend it is. I can't remember what Nookmel missions we have. Chop that, no, get wood, right? Something like that. So that's what I imagine things will be like. And the only reason I talk about this is, like, I don't think that's something which has happened particularly commonly for me. As I say, like, you know, being rather adept at something and then not doing it for a very long time and then trying it again. Actually, it kind of happened with piano, except for piano was considerably harder to pick back up to the skill level I was before. If you don't know, I'm actually, you know, certified grade 8 piano. I did it back when I was like 12, I think I had the exam for grade 8, and I don't remember, and then I stopped. I do kind of regret stopping, you know. Piano I did really enjoy, but it was just sort of like I was at the age where I was like, ugh, hate doing these, you know, angsty teenager sort of vibes, you know. I was like, I don't want to do this. I want just, you know, I want to do things which are fun and like play games or etc. And I suppose by that time I'd been doing a lot of piano, you know, for most of my life, so I was kind of like done a bit. And then, you know, quite a few years ago, like 5 years ago, and like I got a piano again because I was like, I kind of miss playing the piano. I do miss playing the piano. I'm just like, it's a bit frustrating, I suppose, this time. We have no sticks. No sticks. Oh, am I blind? Hold on. Okay, let's go get some sticks. I literally had no idea we were missing all these sticks. We haven't farmed sticks for quite a while, so that makes sense because we like never do it. I say I. But yeah, but piano is significantly harder to pick up, and if anything's a little bit frustrating, I suppose, being able to play it like pretty well, I'd say before. Not like I wasn't like breathtakingly amazing or anything, but I was decently good. And then nowadays, like trying it again and basically being like, oh, that's not how you pick up things. Not being able to quite replicate, I suppose, the ability I had before. It feels weird. Being like, I know how this should be played, I know how to play this, but I just can't get my fingers to do it properly. I should play more piano. Like, I should really like spend some more time in my day just being like, I'm going to relearn how to play piano, because I do really miss playing it. I do like it. And it was my favourite instrument by which I learned to play. You preferred piano over violin? Yes, I did prefer playing piano over violin. Well, I do like the sound of violin. I'm not sure violin was a very me instrument in the end. But anyway, you might be like, oh, what instrument would you like to have learned to play? If you could, like, give a message back to your, like, 8-year-old self and be like, learn this instrument, what would you do? I would give back a note and I'd say, learn, well, I was already learning piano at that point, but I'd be like, learn to sing. You would not believe how often you sing in real day life and how much more awesome it would be if you actually knew how to sing. But anyway, so I guess that's another sort of like seasoned pro sort of thing. Looking back at trying something again with the experience and knowledge in mind. I don't know, but when I was cycling, I wasn't finding it frustrating, I suppose. But maybe that's because I wasn't like that amazing at cycling. I was just like, you know, I could cycle, I suppose, is the sort of long and short of it. But playing piano was quite strange in the first place. I feel like I've talked about this before, haven't I? About relearning skills. Hold on. I bet you that's what I called it as well. YouTube studio. It's what I do before I name... Oh, look, 295. Nearly at 300. Amazing. Name any titles. Relearn. Oh, no. I'm sure I've talked about this before in an Animal Crossing video. Before I title all my episodes, I always search all my videos just to make sure that I'm not repeating any titles. I don't think I've repeated a title yet. If I have, feel free to call me out on it. Because I don't think anyone's going to be determined enough to check. I don't even know how many videos I've got nowadays. How do I see how many videos I have? Is that like a list somewhere? Your channel? No? Oh, don't listen to that. That's me and the Animal Crossing tier list. How many videos do I have? Content? Does it say somewhere? I do have comments I need to respond to. I don't know. I think I have over 1,000, probably at this point. You know what? I probably have about 1,500, because you could probably take the amount of Animal Crossing videos I have and double it, and that's probably about the number of videos I've uploaded. So just before we round off this episode, let's make sure we make our axe so we don't forget it. And then we'll probably spend just the rest of the episode and then farming more sticks, to be honest. So yeah, like relearning skills is a very sort of strange situation. Like in part ways, it's nice to be able to sort of it's basically kind of like you're learning an ability or skill again, but you've already got you got a head start because you already know how to do quite a bit of it in the first place, which is, you know, nice. It's sort of be like, you know, if I'd be like, oh, I want to learn the piano, but you know, I don't want to invest like decades. Well, don't worry, I already invested decades of my life, well, not decades, a decade or so of my life beforehand. You know, skip all that part. I'm basically learning at an accelerated pace. Isn't that fun? But it's also a little bit frustrating at the same time, because it's sort of just like, oh, and I know how to do this, I just can't do it exactly how I want to do it, you know, right now. It's sort of just like, I don't know. It's nice because if you look at it from perspective as if you're like learning a skill all over again for the first time, you're basically learning it way faster than you should be than it would take you if you were just like learning it for the first time. But it's also frustrating because like, I've already learnt the skill and I've let my skills atrophy so much. It's a bit of a shame. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get into bad things to it. So basically, this is a huge tangent of, am I going to start playing TFT? Maybe. It might make a good stream game, is basically sort of long and short of what I really wanted to say there. But I promise you, at some point, I will make this VTuber avatar as well. And I should probably start streaming without the avatar, just so I actually like get into a habit of doing it. I don't know. I think maybe in August I'll do a trial run of a stream. Maybe first week of August, but we'll see how it goes. I don't really know what day we're going to do. I don't really know what we're going to play, but I might do a bit of a trial run just to, you know, get into the swing of things, get things figured out and be like, oh, am I comfortable with this, etc, etc. And hopefully it'll be a bit fun. I don't know if I'm going to stream on YouTube or Twitch either, and, you know, I haven't really decided that. But anyway, relearning skills. Are there any skills out there that which you've had to relearn, and, you know, how do you find that experience, I suppose? That's a question of the day. I don't normally do questions of the day, but there you go. But if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares, I greatly appreciate it. Join me Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.